In the vast and majestic kingdom of Arvandor, where towering castles kissed the skies and golden banners danced in the wind, lived Princess Elara, the jewel of the realm. Her beauty was spoken of far beyond the borders of the kingdom. However, it was not merely her face that captured hearts. It was her spirit. She was curious, bold, and yearned for a freedom that lay far beyond the confines of the palace walls. Each morning, before the kingdom stirred, Elara would quietly slip away to the royal stables. Not to engage in gossip with handmaidens or to admire her reflection, but to ride. In the quiet shadows of the stable worked Kale, a humble horseman with hands hardened by labor and eyes that held the weight of old wounds. He was silent, respectful, and never dared to meet the princess's gaze, until, one morning, he did. Their eyes met, not as royalty and servant, but as two souls aching for something they were never permitted to desire. From that day onward, they rode together. At first, their words were few, a simple nod, a quiet greeting. Yet over time, the silence gave way to stories. Stories turned into laughter. Laughter transformed into fleeting glances. And those glances grew into something deeper, something dangerous. Kale shared with her his past, how he had once served as a soldier in the king's war, only to be demoted to a stable hand after defying an unjust order. He spoke of a brother he had lost in battle, and how, ever since, he had stopped believing in fate. But Elara reignited that belief. And Elara, in turn, experienced something entirely new: to be seen, to be heard, to be loved. Not for her title or crown, but for her very soul. Yet love, in a world governed by power, is rarely left in peace. One evening the king announced her engagement to Prince Alric of Arrynvale, a political alliance meant to secure the kingdom's borders. Elara's heart shattered. She pleaded with her father, begged him to reconsider, but he dismissed her tears with cold resolve. A crown does not marry for love, it marries for duty. Desperate, Elara sought Kale. "We can escape. Tonight," she whispered. But Kale hesitated. "They will hunt us. I do not care. Would rather die free than live in a golden cage." Together they planned a secret departure on the eve of her wedding. They would flee north, through the mistwood to the sea, where freedom awaited. But someone betrayed them. The night of their escape, royal guards lay in wait. It was a trap. Kale was seized, beaten, and sentenced to public execution for daring to love one of royal blood. Elara was imprisoned in the cold northern tower, her cries lost to the stone. The people murmured. Whispers spread. Many believed Kale's love was true. Some shed tears for the princess, but none dared speak aloud. The day of execution arrived. Kale stood in the square, bloodied but unbowed. The executioner raised his blade, then a horn, a shout. Chaos erupted. Elara charged in. Clad in her wedding gown, she rode like a tempest through the stunned crowd, sword in hand. "I will not allow him to die for loving me." Gasps rippled through the square. Behind her rode Captain Lysandra, a warrior fiercely loyal to Elara. Odwonk with a dozen guards who had once fought beside Kale, soldiers who believed in honor, not blind obedience. A battle ignited in the heart of the kingdom. Amidst the chaos, Kale broke free. Together, Elara and Kale fled, not to the sea, but into exile, deep within the wildlands, where no crown held power and no king ruled. The king, humiliated before his people, declared them traitors. Yet in the quiet of his chambers, he wept. For once, long ago, he too had loved someone he had been forbidden to marry. Years passed, the kingdom changed, and one day a letter arrived at the royal court. It was not filled with hatred, nor with rebellion, but with peace. It came from a small village near the eastern cliffs, built and governed by Elara and Kale, a place where titles held no meaning and love was never punished. The king read the letter in silence. Then, with a quiet smile, he placed it gently upon his throne. To this day, the people speak of the princess who chose love over a crown, and the horseman who taught her what it meant to be free. Because sometimes the greatest kingdoms are not built from stone, but from love that refuses to break.